Zai, a very good morning, everyone. Today's tutorial will be on the topic called trigonometry. Okay, so right now, trigonometry for some of the students, they feel that it's quite difficult. So what I have done today is just for the beginners, we are just trying to cover up a few basics. Now, if you understand these basics, then it becomes a lot more easier to go ahead and solve the actual questions that you get in trigonometry, class 10 trigonometry. So these are a few things. We just have to understand a few basic things over here, and it's just that the application of this is what we will be using in your actual sums that we get in your exams. So the first important thing is, now in trigonometry we have 6 important trigonometric terms. So the first one is we come across a term called sine theta, and second is something called cos theta, tan theta, then we have cosec theta, then we have sec theta, and we have cot theta. So over here, what is theta? Theta is the angle. So it's not always every time you'll have theta mentioned. So instead of sine theta, they can have a sine x or a cos x, or they can have a sine A or cos A, cos B, anything. It's just that these that means whatever you have next to your cos, your tan, your cosec, sec, cot, these are the angles. So right now theta is the angle. So now the most important thing is this one. So the basic, now so there are various ways of solving it, but for some of the ones who find it a little difficult, what we say is you just follow this simple method. If you follow this method, there's 90% chances of you going ahead and making sure that you are able to solve the questions in your exam. So what's the basic method or the most important method? The easiest one is, so these are the 2 terms that we consider the most important terms in your trigonometry. Okay? So that is sine theta and cos theta. So any question that I have given to me in the exam, so what I do is, the first most important that we do is we try and convert every term that is given in the question in sine and cos. If something is already given in sine and cos, we'll leave it as it is. But if some questions you have, instead of sine and cos, the question has tan theta or a cosec or a sec or a cot, we have to start converting them or write them in terms of sine theta and cos theta. Example, now how do we convert is, we have a certain formulas which we will use to go ahead and convert these 4 terms into your sine and cos. So like we have cosec theta. If I have cosec theta, if I want to write them in sine and cos, the relation is cosec is 1 by sine theta. So anywhere in the question, if I see cosec, I replace it by 1 by sine theta. Similarly, if I see a sec theta in the question, I just go ahead and replace it by 1 by cos theta. So these are the formulas that you'll use. Similarly, if I see tan theta, then tan theta, we replace it by sine theta by cos theta. So we no longer write tan theta, we just substitute sine theta by cos theta in place of tan theta. Similarly, cot theta, we write it as cos theta by sine theta. Now these formulas or these conversions you have to remember, because it's only when I am able to write these conversions will the sum be easier for me. Okay, so these are the various conversions. So that's the first important thing. So the most important thing, the first important thing is to remember these conversions, because I have to go ahead and make sure that I convert everything in sine and cos. Okay, so it's for those students who find it a little difficult. Now if some of you can manage without converting it, that's good for you, but this is the easiest way. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now the second important thing also, or before I go ahead and move on to the second important thing, let's go ahead and give you an example. Like for example, if I have tan theta plus cos theta, if the question says solve this, then if I look carefully in this question, this is already in cos theta and I want everything in sine and cos. Since this is already in cos theta, I don't have to do anything, I leave it as it is. But this one, it is in tan theta, but I want in sine and cos. So this tan theta has to be replaced, and in its place I need to write sine theta by cos theta. So I write sine theta by cos theta, and this I leave it as it is, because now everything in this question is in terms of sine and cos. That is what I meant by converting everything in sine and cos. Okay, after this what to do will come. Okay, but right now let's give you another question. Let's say if I have something called, let's say tan A plus sec A. Like I said, every time you want to have a theta, sometimes the theta may be replaced by an A. It doesn't matter. Even if I have an X, it's still the same thing. So I have tan, but I want in sine and cos. I want everything in sine and cos. So the tan again has to be replaced by, I write sine A by cos A. and the plus as it is. Sec also I need to convert, and what's the conversion for your sec? Sec is 1 by cos A. So that is what we have to go ahead and do. That's the first important step in your trigonometry, is try and write everything in terms of sine and cos. So that's the first thing. So once I've learned this, now the second important thing that you have to remember is now how to find the LCM. Now I think in class 10 everyone knows how to find the LCM, but I said this tutorial especially for the beginners or for the little bit weaker ones, we can say. I cannot call it weaker, but still who has difficulty. For them, we are making this video. So for them, we'll show you how we can use the normal LCM that we have, that we actually find in the junior classes. Like for example, let's say if I have 2 by 3 plus, let's say 5 by 4. If I have to solve this, okay, whatever you do over here, the same logic we apply for finding the LCM in trigonometry also. So like for example, I may have, let's say, sine theta by cos theta plus 1 by, let's say, sine theta. If I have something like that. Now if I get something like this, then how do I find the LCM? Just like over here. So if I do it step by step. Now when I find the LCM, now these two are completely different. So to find the LCM, I just do 3 into 4. So I multiply the two of them. Okay, same thing over here also. Now they are completely different. So when I want to find the LCM in trigonometry, I do the same thing. What do I write? I write cos theta into sine theta. That is how I write. And then to get the numerator, okay, some of you, I think you are capable of writing directly. You are capable of writing 8 directly. But if you understand the method how to get the numerator over here, the same logic will apply over here. So rather than directly writing the answer, we'll see the process or the method in which we get the numerator. So to get the numerator, we copy this top one as it is. So we write the 2 as it is. Same thing over here also in trigonometry also. Whatever is the numerator, we just copy it as it is, sine theta. And then we open a bracket. And then what do we write? We just check this with the entire LCM. So we check over here, and this, when we compare this, the 3 and 3 gets cancelled. So just check what gets cancelled. So the common one gets cancelled. What is left over? The leftover is the one that we write over here. Okay, so the same thing gets cancelled. The leftover is what we write over here. Same thing over here, cos theta will imagine it to get cancelled, and inside the bracket we have a sine theta. Okay, same logic. Then whatever is the sign plus, over here also we have a plus, we put a plus. Then again the numerator, we write it as it is. Same thing again, what's the numerator? It's a 1, so we write 1 as it is, open a bracket, open a bracket. Now this side we have a 4, and over here we have 3 and 4, so the 4 and 4 we imagine it getting cancelled. Leftover is 3, that is 3 is what we write. And over here also sine theta gets cancelled. Leftover is the cos theta, we write the cos theta. So that is how we find the LCM in your trigonometry also. Whatever logic we apply in the normal sums, we apply the same logic in trigonometry also. Then what do we do over here? 2 4s are, we write an 8. And I think most of you know directly 8, but this is how we get the 8. Plus we know it would have been a 15, this is how we write a 15. Same thing, now sine theta. Okay, so they get multiplied. Now whenever you are multiplying any terms in trigonometry, it's only the trigonometric term that gets multiplied. The one angles do not get multiplied with each other. So when you are multiplying sine theta into sine theta, it's only the sine and sine gets multiplied. Like for example, if I have x into x, we write it as x square. Similarly, sine into sine, we write it as a sine square, and the theta, the angle, they do not get multiplied. It remains theta as it is. So it's only the trigonometric term gets multiplied. So if I have cos theta into cos theta, I write cos square theta. So then we have plus, what do I write? Plus 1 into cos theta is again cos theta. And divided by cos theta and sin theta, we get cos theta sin theta. So that is how we go ahead and find the LCM in your trigonometry. Like for example, let's give you one more example. So if I have something like this, okay, like let's say for example over here, like we have 12, then we add all that stuff is fine. But if I have, let's say 3 by 4 minus 5 by 4. Now sometimes we may have the same denominators, so sometimes we may also get like this. I may get 1 by cos theta minus sin theta by cos theta. Now if I want to find the LCM, so then we do not multiply them, because if it's the same denominator in both of them, we just take only one of them as the LCM. So same thing over here also, cos theta, I have over here also cos theta. So the LCM is not the multiplication of these two, because they are exactly the same. So we just write it only once. Okay. Now if I have different ones, then I multiply them. But if I have the same thing, we just write it once. And then over here, what do I do? I copy the numerator as it is. Over here also I copy the numerator as it is. And then 4 ones are 4. That means when they get cancelled, imagine they get cancelled. If there is nothing left over, means we put a 1. Okay, that's why 4 ones are 4. That is what we write. So if everything gets cancelled, nothing is left, we write a 1. So cos theta also gets cancelled. So there's nothing, we write a 1. Minus, we copy this 5 as it is. And then we copy the sine theta also as it is. And then 4 and 4 gets cancelled, nothing left over, we put a 1. Over here also cos theta gets cancelled, nothing left over, we put a 1. So we are 1 minus sine theta over cos theta. So that's the way to go ahead and find the LCM. So if you are able to go ahead and do these two things, I think the initial stage where you have to go ahead and solve questions in trigonometry, I think you should be able to solve it. So we'll try a few examples, but one more thing before that, okay? Now remember, if I said cos theta, I'll replace it by 1 by sine theta. But sometimes so I said we will replace cos theta as 1 by sine theta. But sometimes we may not get cos theta. We may get a cosec square theta. So if I have a square over here, doesn't matter, I use the same formula. So if I have a square over here, I'll put a square over here also. So cosec square theta becomes 1 by sine square theta. Similarly, if I have sec theta is 1 by cos theta, so sec square theta would be 1 by cos square theta. If it's tan theta is sin theta by cos theta, tan square theta is sin square theta by cos square theta. So if I have a square, I'll put a square also. So the same thing, okay? So let's go ahead and try at least a few sums so that it becomes a little easier for us, okay? So let's give you an example of a sum where we put the LCM together, where we put the conversion also together, okay? So like we said, let's say tan A plus sec A. The first thing we said is we have to check, are they in sine and cos? If they are not, we have to start converting them into sine and cos. So tan A, I can write it as a sine A by cos A. What about sec A? Sec A, I'll write it as 1 by cos A. Now, LCM, I see fractions, I see a plus. So we find the LCM. Now they are exactly the same. So the LCM would be we just write it once because they're exactly the same. So then the numerator, we copy it as it is. And then they get cancelled. If there's nothing left over, I said we put a 1. Plus, we copy this as it is. And then this gets cancelled, nothing left over, we put a 1. So sine A into 1, we get it as a sine A plus 1 into 1 is a 1. Divided by, we get a cos A. For the time being, this is what you have to do. Yeah, there will be more steps when we do a little more, when we do a section A, section B type of sums. But right now, we're just making this tutorial for the beginners. If you know this much, it'll be good enough for you. And then in the next tutorial, we'll talk about what next to do beyond this. So let's do a few more examples right now, just for the starters, okay? We are doing for beginners. So let's say I get cosec A minus sine A. So, okay? So if they say solve this, then I'll write cosec, I have to convert 1 by sine A. Minus, this is already in sine A, I don't have to do anything. Okay, but if there's nothing, it's advisable you put a 1. Why? Because now we find the LCM. So now they are different. So I write sine A into 1 as my LCM. So I copy this 1 as it is, and then I open a bracket, sine A gets cancelled. What is left over? 1. Minus, again I copy this numerator as it is, and then 1 and 1 gets cancelled. What is left over? Sine A. Okay, so then 1 into 1 gives me a 1 minus, now I have sine A. Just now we said only the trigonometric terms will get multiplied. So sine into sine gives me a sine square, and this angle we write it as it is, divided by 1 into sine A gives me a sine A. For the time being, this much is the answer. Okay, let's give you another example. So let's say I have tan square theta plus 1 minus 1 by cos square theta. So this is solve this. So this right now I have to convert. So tan becomes sine square theta by cos square theta plus 1, okay, minus this also remains as it is because already in cos. So if there's nothing in the denominator, I always advise put a 1 so that you don't get confused. Now there's all plus minus in between. Please find the LCM. So cos square theta, both of them have cos squared. We just write it once. And then there is a 1 also, I put a 1. Okay, though it's not necessary, but still for the beginners, you can put a 1 also. So then the numerator as it is, we have sine square theta, then cos squared gets cancelled. I just have a 1. Plus, we copy the 1 as it is. Then 1 and 1 gets cancelled. What gets left over? Cos squared theta gets left over. Minus, we have a 1. We copy the 1 as it is. Then cos squared gets cancelled. We put a 1. Then sine square into 1 gives me a sine square theta, plus 1 into cos squared gives me a cos square theta, minus 1 into 1 gives me a 1, divided by 1 into cos squared theta gives me a cos squared theta. So later on we have formula for these also, but for the time being, for the beginners, at least get till here. Once you start understanding how to get these kind of things, then it's very easy for us to progress to the next step. Okay, but for the time being, it's only this part. So let's do another question. Okay, let's do a little bit tricky one. So let's say if I do something like this, cot A divided by 1 minus sine A. Okay, so right now this is already in cos, this is already in sine. I don't have to, this is the one that needs to be converted. So cos A I write as it is. So cot A means what? It is cos A by sine A divided by 1 minus sine A. Okay, now again, if there's nothing over here, we just put it. Now over here we will not find the LCM. Why? Because LCM is found only when I have plus minus between terms. I have plus or minus between terms or between fractions, only then I'll have to go ahead and find the LCM. But over here we have a fraction, but there is no plus minus. There's simply a bracket, means multiplication, no LCM. Simply the numerator gets multiplied with numerator, denominator gets multiplied with denominator. So cos into cos gives me a cos squared A, 1 into sine A gives me a sine A, and the whole thing divided by 1 minus sine A. Okay, so now next step, I think if you are capable, that means if you know that this is the one that comes down and gets multiplied with this, it's okay. In case someone doesn't know that this will come down and gets multiplied, what you can do it in the rough like this. So this same thing, I'm writing it over here. I can write it as cos squared A by sine A. I can write whole thing is being divided by 1 minus sine A. I can do this. So it is like cos squared A by sine A, cos squared A by sine A. Whole thing is being divided by 1 minus sine A. So I put a 1. Now we know in BODMAS that any division, if I want to change it into a multiplication, what happens? The reciprocal happens. So if you think you can do it directly, do it. If you think you get confused, you can do it this way, write a division, and then when I change the division into a multiplication, reciprocal, so 1 over 1 minus sine A. So now the numerator gets multiplied with numerator. 1 into cos squared A is cos squared A. Down, this gets multiplied with this, more than 1. When I am multiplying, I put it inside a bracket. For the time being, that's the answer. Okay, so if you think you know it directly, then over here also I could have done it directly. Sine A comes down, gets multiplied. So sine A, when I multiply with this, more than 1 inside a bracket. See, we're getting the same answer. So if you think you're comfortable this, do it this way. If you think, no, I may get confused, I want to do this, you can do this also. Okay, it's your wish. Okay, so let's do one more, last one. So let's say we have tan theta over 1 minus cot theta. So tan theta is sine theta by cos theta. Whole thing is being divided by 1 minus cos theta by sine theta. Now over here it's like a 1. Now this portion, you have a fraction, we need to find the LCM. So upper one remains as it is, but down the LCM is 1 into sine theta. So then the 1, I copy it as it is. 1 and 1 gets cancelled. I get sine theta minus cos theta, copy it as it is. Sine theta out, I get a 1. So then I get sine theta by cos theta. Whole thing is being divided by sine theta minus cos theta divided by sine theta. So then from here, if there is a confusion, what you do over here is from now, okay, again, if you think you know that this will come down, this will go up, it's good for you. In case you do not know, it doesn't matter. Again, what you do is you write sine theta by cos theta. This one, I write as it is, then I write divided by sine theta minus cos theta divided by sine theta. So we have the numerator being divided by the entire denominator. Then this division, I can change it into a multiplication, but for that the reciprocal happens. Sine theta goes up, sine theta minus cos theta comes down. So the numerator gets multiplied with numerator. I get sine square theta. Down, what do we get? The cos theta gets multiplied with the entire thing, so more than 1 inside a bracket. So this is how we go ahead and solve the initial part of your questions in your trigonometry. So majority of the sums, especially in section A in ICSE, okay, these whatever I taught you right now, that will be the first part of the question. Every section A you will at least have to do this. Yeah, there will be certain steps that I have to do beyond this also. But right now, if you are able to do this much means, yes, at least there is a huge possibility of you being able to solve the entire question. It's just that one or two extra steps have to be added. But 90% of the sum will be all these only. It's all these that will be put together into one question. So if you do all these properly, okay, that means you can at least think that, yeah, you are, that means capable of scoring a full marks in your at least section A sums. Okay, so that's it for the time being. If you have any questions, any queries, you can please let me know, and then we'll work on those also. Okay, so for the time being, that's it. Thank you very much.